Motor Media, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ann-Adeva and I am black. When I turned 19, it was the year that I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm going to change so many things in my life. I moved out of the house, I moved into the hostel, and ever since then I finished my bachelor's. And even after I finished my bachelor's, I was like, I'm still gonna do what I gotta do. I'm going to follow my dreams. I didn't have dreams at the time. The dreams that I had, I was like, you know what, I need to come to terms with the fact that I'm probably not gonna reach my dreams. Like, my life is not working out in the way that I thought it was gonna work out, because the who I am today is not the me who set the plans and the dreams all those years ago. You know, when I was in high school, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go and be a forensic scientist, and this is what I'm gonna study, and this is what I'm gonna do. I felt like I was on the road to do something that younger me wanted, but present me didn't want anymore. Sometimes you come up with plans or you come up with dreams for your life, and you just feel as you grow that you are growing in a different direction, and it's really hard to accept that reality, because I was someone when I was younger that I was too scared to make mistakes. I was too scared to change my mind, to follow a different route, follow a different path, and then end up being wrong, and then having only myself to blame for making the mistakes and not making the safe choices and decisions that would have kept me in this bubble of safety and security. Then it came to the time when I turned 23. When I turned 23, I was feeling so much better. I had started going to therapy. I was seeing my therapist regularly. I was living with a friend of mine who was also studying psychology, but also going to therapy for her own mental health issues. And we used to bond and basically just share the things that we were going through and our childhood and our adulthood, and you know, just like growing up as Africans and just how we experience these things differently between the two of us. And when we would talk all the time, I started to feel like, okay, this is someone who understands what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to live for myself. I'm trying to come up with a life that feels comfortable or suitable to me. So I just need to keep going, okay? I just need to keep doing what I did. And then my grandmother passed away. And if you know me, you know I talk about my grandmother a whole lot. But my grandmother was a very, very important part of my life, the life of my family members, and also the life of of the community that we grew up in. Because my grandmother was really like an upstanding woman, you know. She was very inspirational, not just to me, but to like many other women in her life, whether young or old, whether at church, whether at school, whether in the society, whether at her workplace. You know, she was like a really revered, highly spoken of woman. And the day my grandmother passed on was like, I just got a call at 8 in the morning. Like, my mom had tried to call me, I think 5 times. I pick up the phone and she's like, I just have to tell you that your grandmother didn't wake up today. She didn't make it. She's been in the hospital. She's been ill. And unfortunately, like, she's passed on. I'm like, girl, what the hell? So then, but how can she pass on today? Like, I'm supposed to write my learner's license exam. Like, what does that mean? And then my mom is like, just go write the exam. And I'm like, but now I can't go write the exam because I'm sad. And my mom said something that to this day stuck with me. She said, your grandmother wouldn't want you to stop living your life or like not go write your exam just because she passed on. Like, it's not gonna bring her back. Go write the exam and get your learner's license. I went there at the venue. I think I even met someone that I knew, and I was just like, this is so crazy. Like, my life was just like moving like this, you know, because I'm like, I'm standing here at Natas. My grandmother just passed on. I haven't been to the house since she's passed on because I came here early in the morning at Natas to like write the exam. So I'm like, whoa, you know, like, what is my life right now? So I'm just there, like, and I'm just like, this is so crazy. Like, this is so crazy. And I get there, everyone is busy cooking, and like, things are just moving. Like, people are just moving, life is just moving, and my grandmother has passed on. And I'm like, everyone is just here cooking and cracking jokes and things, and I'm like, how is life just going on when like one of the most important people in my life are no longer here? And that also for me started my like, or it affirmed my Christian beliefs, because then I started praying more. I started like going to church more because that's what my grandmother used to do, and it kind of made me feel like I'm closer to her in that way. When I started making YouTube videos, I felt like I'm doing something unconventional, and I know that this is not something that people would really be proud of you, because people don't really respect content creation or understand content creation unless you make really like a lot of money from it, or you become really famous. That's when people will be like, oh, okay, it's worth something, you know. So when you're still in the beginning stages, it feels really, you feel really bad. You really feel like you're making a joke of yourself.
Just know you're going down.
You really feel like it's worse than starting a small business. Like starting a small business is much easier than it is to start a content creation journey, because starting a small business, it doesn't matter if your family doesn't support you or your friends or whatever. It doesn't matter if they don't support you. It matters that you're going to get the customers, you're going to provide a service or sell a product that people need, and you always have, if the demand for your business is high, you always have people who will believe in you or come and buy your services. You know, you just have to be consistent and like maintain your brand and your image and your customer service, and people will always come back. But when you're creating content, it's much deeper than that, because what kind of content are you creating? Who's your audience? What your audience like about you? And all those things that you cannot really answer in the beginning. Do you know what I mean? So it just felt like, okay, I'm doing this unconventional thing. I don't even know if like I should pursue it, because it's not, the results are not coming as fast as they should. And not only like the monetary results, but just in terms of like building an audience, having people that show up for you every time you upload a video, having people engaging, because it's not really just about just sitting there and staring at you talk. It's also about them like leaving comments and all those things and sharing your video and telling you like, oh, I really needed to hear this, thank you so much for this video, you know. Those kind of things, like they all play into like the answering of the question, is this worth it? Even though I lost my grandmother, I felt like I was grieving for such a long time that my life was passing and things were happening in my life that I was not even paying attention to or even like acknowledging. Like one of the things that I can genuinely say that I was not really present for was completing my master's. Like when I did my master's, I took a different approach as of when I did my bachelor's, because for my bachelor's I was just like, I'm gonna study, I'm gonna get good grades, I'm gonna pass, and I'm gonna graduate. But for my master's, I was like, I want to learn, I want to network, I want to be present in the class. I don't want to just be the invisible girl. I want to answer questions, I want to, you know, say my piece. When I do my presentations, I want to come like well dressed, I want to present, I want to get like a 1 for my presentation. I want people to, when they ask me a question during my presentation, I want to be so like well informed on my topic or my presentation that I'm able to answer the questions to the best of my ability. And like, you know, I was like, I'm going to make the most of this experience. I'm going to get to know the city, get to know the country, learn the language. I'm really going to immerse myself in the culture. And I did all those things, but I was not present for it, because in my mind, I was just dissociating. I was just like trying to go day by day and not realizing that I'm living in the answered prayers. So when I'm not feeling like I'm feeling better inside, I'm feeling happier, I'm feeling more content, I'm feeling like I arrived, when I stopped feeling those feelings, I was just like, or not stop feeling, but when those feelings never came, I just felt like things I was doing wasn't really worth it. But when I would talk to people like from back home, they'd be like, dude, you're so inspirational, you really inspire me. I have like kids, but I'm still gonna chase my dreams. I'm studying because of you, or you know, I'm gonna travel abroad because of your story. It was like, oh, I'm doing something, you know. And a lot of times I feel like we downplay our achievements so much that we completely miss. And you acknowledging your achievements and you like saying, I'm so proud of myself, I did this big thing for me, right? Big things don't have to be big for everyone, but this big thing for you. Like, I'm a child who came from poverty, formerly segregated schools. I survived racism growing up. I survived being bullied growing up. I survived like the other conditions that come with being poor, you know, like the drugs, the alcohol, the promiscuity, the teenage pregnancies, the gangs. I survived all those things, all of those things. And I keep thinking like, oh, it's not just me, you know, other people also survive. But it's like, it's big for me because it's big for me that I overcame all that. And despite my background, I'm still here today. I still created this really beautiful platform. I still get to share amazing things with people. And a lot of times you downplay your achievements so much, And I get it in the name of, you want to stay humble, you want to stay grounded, you don't want to forget where you come from, all those things. But I think you not acknowledging your achievements creates your inability to dream bigger. Because if you say, oh my gosh, I won $10,000, if you don't acknowledge that, oh my gosh, this $10,000 is a lot, you're not gonna work towards the million, if that makes sense. Because it's just like when you go to the gym, if you don't acknowledge it, I'm actually getting stronger. I remember when this barbell was empty and now I am lifting 40 kgs. If you don't acknowledge that, you cannot push yourself to say, you know what, I can do 2 more reps. I think I can add a 2 kg. I think I can add, 1 kg every week. I think I can even do a new exercise. I think I can use a new machine. You won't move to the next level if you don't acknowledge that you've completed this level. It's just like when you're playing a game, every time you complete a level, then there comes the confetti and the fireworks and the congratulations that you've completed this level so you can move on to the next level. Yeah, exactly. If you don't acknowledge, if you don't have that celebratory confetti champion moment, you're not going to excel to the next level and be present in the next level on your way to excellence. And when you live in the world of instant gratification, it's so hard for you to be grateful for what you have. It's so hard for you to even think about what you have as something to be grateful for. It's hard for you to be like, I have a job, I have a roof over my head, I have food to eat every day, I have clothes to wear every day. I have so many clothes to wear every day that I don't know what I'm going to wear every day. That's even a blessing. That's something amazing. That's something that you should be like, wow, I never knew that I could live a life like this. From the times where you would watch other people get certain pairs of shoes and you didn't get them, now you're the one who's like, I don't know what to wear, I just have so many clothes. All of those things are things that you should be grateful for, are things that you should consider as blessings, are things that you should consider as advantages, and also as a signature of how far you have come in your own journey. Like if you start to talk about like, okay, I only have 400 views on my video this week. Remember when you used to get 100 views and you would celebrate those little 100 views, and now you're at 400 and you're like, this is not even 1,000, what is this? No, you need to be happy that, oh my gosh, 400 people. Imagine if 400 people was like standing in front of you trying to listen to you talk. Wouldn't you be so overwhelmed? And that's how I feel. Like I imagine 1,189 people standing in front of me while I'm talking. It's wild that so many people share my interests or share my thoughts, and I always used to think of myself as weird and uninteresting. Another content creator friend of mine made a video this week where she was talking about she's been doing content for all these years and she's been creating for all these years, and she feels like she's been doing everything right, but nothing, let's put it in quotes because I'm gonna break it down. Nothing has come from her content. Okay, those were her words. She felt like nothing came from her content, and she's just like, what am I doing this for? Is it worth it? Should I keep going or should I stop? Basically, that was the gist of what she was saying, but you should watch the whole video. It was actually really interesting. And I felt like, if I use myself as an example, right? When I started making TikTok videos, I made like mini vlogs. Okay, I was not really good at it. I made mini vlogs and I went to Namibia one time last year and I went to sleep, right? I went to sleep. I had 300 followers. When I woke up the next day, I had 2,000 followers on TikTok. And I was like, where did all this come from? And this was from a simple video of mine where I was talking about how customer service in Germany is just as bad or if not worse than the customer service in Namibia. And everyone was like, so many people were relating to that video. And that's most of what I'm trying to do. Most of the time I'm trying to relate to other people. I'm like, does anyone else feel the way that I feel? Does anyone else experience what I experience? Does anyone else think what I think? And that's always the premise behind all my videos, behind all my talking heads, behind my podcast, just behind every piece of content that I create. I always want to relate to just one other person. I just want one other person to say, oh my gosh, I also love that conditioner. Or, oh my gosh, I also love to take a bubble bath. Or, oh my gosh, I really love, the way you do your eyebrows. I also do my eyebrows like that. Just one person to just connect with me, to just say, you know what, me too. You are comparing yourself so much. And this doesn't just go for content creation. This is also for when I was doing my degree. When I was doing my degree, guys, I used to compare myself to so many people. I used to compare myself to so many people. I would compare myself to my friends, for example. My friends have like their studies funded by banks, okay? My friends have their studies sponsored by scholarships. They have like their parents sponsoring their studies. They have so many funding opportunities, and all I had was going to work 3 times a week. And if I didn't go to work, I wasn't getting paid. So I had to force myself literally every week to make sure I go to work 3 times a week so that I could get paid on time and get paid enough money on time so that I could afford all my bills, afford to help out my family, afford to maybe like entertain or even do something nice for myself every now and then, afford to like, you know, be able to do my hair, afford all those things. Because if I wasn't going to show up for myself, nobody else was going to show up for me. And a lot of times we are comparing, like you're comparing your page 1 to someone else's page 60. How can I, guys? Like, you can't do that. Bobby Cooper said in a video of hers recently in an interview, she said people who try are much better off than people who never tried. You trying is actually a winning thing. You should be proud of yourself. You should celebrate yourself for trying because you tried. Yes, it didn't work out, but you tried. You are way better off than someone who just sat there and wished they did what you did. We don't sit and just like acknowledge everything that we're doing. Yes, you're doing everything right, but what does the Bible say? The Bible says, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. No one else, the Lord will make it happen. It's just like going viral. Everyone who's gone viral, everyone who's become famous, everyone who's become a super athlete, everyone who's done something amazing in life says that it happened at the right time. They all say that. They all say that if it happened earlier, if it happened when I was like desperate for it, I wouldn't have been ready. I wouldn't have been perceptive of the blessing. I wouldn't have been perceptive of the success. I wouldn't have been, not even perceptive, receptive is what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't have been receptive of the success. I wouldn't have been receptive of the amazing future that is now my present. Do you get what I mean? It's just like when I was telling someone on my Instagram, someone asked me how I'm doing, and I said, you know, I was really feeling bad that my life was moving slowly. But when I really sat and I thought about it, I said, you know what, God, thank you so much for making things happen slowly in my life, allowing me to also reflect and ingest it for myself and just process my own feelings, because I have gotten married and I've graduated in 1 year. I cannot imagine how it would have felt if I had gotten married, graduated, gotten pregnant, gotten a car, all in 1 year. There is so many things for me. Like even last year, going home was such a big thing for me because I didn't put myself in debt going home. I didn't overextend myself. I just went home. I could afford it. I could afford to take my siblings out and do nice things with them. I could afford to meet up with my friends. I could afford to travel in my country. Like I could afford all those things. And it's so hard to like just be like, you know what, I did this and I'm so grateful, and the timing is right. If I went home sooner than last year, I would have probably overextended myself. I would have ended up in debt. I would have taken a new credit card. I would have probably done so many things because I want to go and I want to do the most and I want to ball out. Instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to do what I can afford to do and that's enough. One of the things that I can say, if you are waiting for like something big to happen in your life, I can honestly say from my personal experience, my academic career, which I feel like is the biggest thing that has changed my life, is education. Because through education, I was able to go to school, you know, I was able to get a scholarship to go stay in Finland for free for 5 months, you know, because of education. And I think a lot of times you just need to be consistent. And that's one thing that I learned from my academic excellence, is just to be consistent in everything. And I'm consistently showing up on every other platform if you see me. And I feel like the consistent people are the ones who make it, are the ones who get somewhere. It's just that a lot of us, we're not acknowledging and we're not happy for where we are and where we are going because we are too busy comparing ourselves to other people that are doing greater things than us. You know, you don't know what someone else is doing when you are sleeping. That's also another thing that my auntie taught me, and I'm so glad that she said that to me, because you never know the price that someone else is paying for the things that you wish that they had. You know, you'll be admiring someone whole time they are in debt, or you'll be admiring someone and they have a man sponsoring their lifestyle. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but we all have seen what happens when the funds run dry, okay? So don't like idolize also other people's lives so much. Yes, you can be inspired, you can be motivated, you know, you can say, wow, we came from the same neighborhood and look at what she's made of her life. God bless me, you know, God is in the neighborhood. But if you say, I want to live her life, I want to have what she has an iPad, I want to have an iPad, child, you better slow down, you better go and sit down somewhere before you hurt yourself. And then I had another thought this week also, apart from her saying that, you know, she's doing everything right and nothing is coming from it. Another thing I can also say is that you need to be able to recognize God's timing and be having faith that is storm resistant. And this is not only just about God. Like, if you don't believe in God, please, you don't have to stop following me now because of that. But just take inspiration, okay? Just take inspiration. But there is this song we used to sing in primary school and kindergarten. It's called, or the line, it's just, the whole song is one line, but it's, with Jesus in my boat, I can smile at the storm. Smile at the storm, smile at the storm. With Jesus in my boat, I can smile at the storm, smile at the storm. Okay, that's the whole song, is one line. And I thought about that song, or I was meditating on that song for this week. I don't know why. But a lot of times we don't realize how much protection and like strength we have and consistency we have, and how many good attributes and good things we have. It could be a support system, it could be friends, it could be content creator acquaintances, it could just be people like your professors, it could be your teachers, it could be your boss, it could be your helpers, you know, your divine helpers that are just keeping you a sail, even though there is a storm that is happening. And the storm doesn't have to be your life. Just look around in the world and look at what is happening in the world, and somehow your life has not fallen apart. Shouldn't that count for something? Shouldn't that count for something? Smile at the storm. Smile at the storm, because who is in your boat? Jesus is in your boat, and he's going to keep you afloat no matter what storm is coming. So no matter what downfalls you're going to have, no matter what bad things are going to happen, I don't know why I was in such a slump. I also feel a lot of times we are so critical of ourselves, we judge ourselves so much. I was also feeling like, okay, I've been having this channel for a year, it's not been monetized, this is not happening, that is not happening, this is not happening, that is not happening. I'm on TikTok, but I'm not doing this, I'm not getting the money, I'm not doing this. Yeah, okay, you're not getting it, but doesn't it take time for things like that to happen? Things don't just happen overnight. Just if you look at people like Tyler, for example, wasn't she making music for 10 years before she blew up? Wasn't she making music for 10 years before she blew up? If you look at people like Denzel Washington, if you look at, who else can I say? Even if you look at, oh my gosh, like Robot Boy has been on his inspirational bag lately. But if you look at his journey also, you will see really why his advice is making sense, because he's giving advice from a very personal perspective and from like I've experienced it, I know what I'm talking about kind of mentality. But one thing that I love that he says is like, be patient, you know, be patient and wait. And while you're waiting, praise. Because why? When the praises go up, the blessings come down. And this week, I just want to leave you with a message to listen to God and lean on his understanding and not your own understanding. Okay? Because I think now with the times of anxiety and depression and other mental health issues, social anxiety, just like imposter syndrome, all these challenges that we face as young people, even just the feelings of inadequacy because we are young and we haven't made much of our lives, you know, like to just go through your life at your pace. Because start of Mashikar, you're also going to get there. In Afrikaans, it's a phrase, it's a proverb. Is it a proverb? After ox come work in the kraal. It means like even the last ox gets into the kraal. So it doesn't matter, even if you are the last one, you are still going to get there. Because at the end of the day, we all matter. Okay, we are the brothers and the sisters. We are the children of the Lord, rich and poor, black and white, we are the same in front of God. You know that song? Yeah, sing it to yourself sometimes. Sometimes you need to go back to those nursery rhymes so that you can be reminded of how easily it is to be reminded that like you need to really lean on the understanding of their wise and not on your own human mortal understanding, because things to mortal beings don't make sense. If they don't make sense, it's hard for us to believe it. But what is faith? Faith is the belief in things hoped for and not yet received. So if you have not received it, you better believe that you can hope for it. Rest assured that you will get it. So I leave you with that this week, and just know that being here is half the job. Trying is half the job, okay? You just need to be here. There's a reason you're already here. Might as well just continue going forward. And I wish you all the best. I wish all of us the things that we want in life, and don't be so down, don't be so sad. Try to always be a little positive about yourself and your own life, because at the end of the day, you only have yourself. It's just gonna be you that's gonna be responsible for all the decisions you make, and no one is coming to save us, so we need to save ourselves. So thank you so much for watching. Please let's continue the conversation in the comments. Play fair like base and pass you up. Ciao.